Donald Trump, the most controversial president in history. Welcome to our channel. Today, we're diving into a pivotal chapter of U.S. history, the rise and ripple effect of Donald Trump on U.S. politics and the economy. This analysis extends beyond a political figure. It addresses the future of one of the world's most powerful countries and its global implications. We will cover his first term in office from 2017 to 2021 with his America First approach, and consider the potential impact of his second term in 2025 with his Make America Great Again slogan. We will explore the policies that have characterized his administration and how they are reflected in the contemporary global landscape, focusing on economic proposals, his management of migration challenges at the borders, his international relations strategy, and its potential effects on citizens and global trade markets. Subscribe to our channel and activate the notification bell so you don't miss our latest videos. Now, let's dive into today's story. Donald Trump's emphasis on enhancing the U.S. economy through the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act led to significant achievements. This legislation reduced the corporate tax rate from 35% to 21%, thereby improving the competitiveness of U.S. companies and attracting foreign investment. As a result, the economy experienced sustained growth, with unemployment hitting historic lows in 2019. Many Americans also experienced wage increases and greater purchasing power. The trade war with China impacted the U.S. economy, triggering 25% tariffs on technology products, as well as consumer and manufactured goods. In retaliation, China imposed tariffs of 10 to 25% on U.S. imports, affecting agriculture, automobiles, and chemicals. U.S. companies adjusted their supply chains to avoid the tariffs, proving resilient despite the added costs and logistical challenges. Tariffs resulting from the trade war significantly increased the prices of imported goods, directly affecting the purchasing power of U.S. consumers. The rising cost of living was a direct consequence of these economic policies. A significant event during this period was Trump's historic summit with Kim Jong-un. The talks aimed to convince North Korea to abandon its nuclear program and missile tests. However, they ultimately failed to produce any tangible results, raising doubts about the effectiveness of this diplomatic approach. In 2017, Trump announced the U.S. withdrawal from the Paris Agreement on climate change, citing unfair economic burdens on key sectors such as energy and manufacturing, as well as concerns over job losses and rising energy costs. His administration favored fossil fuel use, viewing the agreement as a constraint on the development of national energy resources. While the Abraham Accords normalized ties with Arab nations, including the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Sudan, and Morocco. Trump's recognition of Jerusalem as Israel's capital reignited deep tensions with Palestinians, illustrating the complexity of Middle East diplomacy. Donald Trump's administration sparked numerous debates, particularly due to his stringent immigration policies, which were one of the most defining and divisive pillars of his presidency. He pushed for building a wall along the border with Mexico and took steps to lower illegal immigration. He also suggested a merit-based immigration system that would allow only those with skills that could benefit the economy. Many people criticized these policies. The decision to separate families at the border drew outrage both in the U.S. and around the world. Disturbing images of children taken away from their parents changed public opinion, leading to large protests and criticism from human rights groups. Trump implemented a controversial travel ban, restricting entry into the U.S. from specific countries, primarily Muslim-majority nations. This policy ignited intense discussions about discrimination and human rights, challenging the United States' reputation as a welcoming nation for immigrants. Historically, immigration has fueled the country's growth and enhanced its diversity. The travel ban sparked widespread debate over immigration, national security, and civil rights in the United States. Trump's immigration policies reshaped America's borders and its national identity in the eyes of the world. Trump's election campaign was not only a political milestone, but also united some of the wealthiest individuals in the United States. For instance, Elon Musk actively supported the campaign with substantial donations, rising to high positions in his administration and promoting policies favorable to large corporations, which significantly influenced the political landscape and earned him widespread approval from the business elite. Trump's vision for the future promises more jobs, lower taxes, stricter immigration policies, and a commitment to an isolationist foreign policy. This second term will not only continue his previous policies, but also address criticisms and challenges from his first administration. As the next few years unfold, attention will focus on how his decisions will impact both the US and the global stage, creating anticipation and uncertainty. With the start of Donald Trump's second term in office on January 20th, 2025, several events have emerged that define the clear focus of his new administration. Below, we will highlight the key points as we publish our video, providing a sense of direction and purpose. Trump proposed a proactive strategy to boost the economy through new tax cuts, similar to the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017, but more aggressive. This law lowered tax rates for corporations and high-income individuals, sparking investment and a temporary surge in the stock market. While critics claimed the cuts favored the wealthy and worsened the fiscal deficit, they also raised hopes for increased investment and growth. Trump imposed tariffs on 185 countries worldwide, targeting key sectors such as technology, textiles, agriculture, electronics, cars, pharmaceuticals, and manufacturing. He argued these tariffs would protect American industries by addressing unfair trade practices against US products. However, the tariffs raised prices on imported goods, which impacted US consumers and businesses that relied on foreign supplies. This situation led to tensions with major trading partners and caused other countries to retaliate, thereby complicating international trade relations. The Trump administration decided to renegotiate some trade agreements, including the USMCA and treaties with the European Union. This decision received mixed reactions. The goal was to secure better terms for the United States, but some critics argued that it could harm cooperation between North American countries. The EU responded by imposing tariffs on US products, which raised concerns about the administration's handling of international trade. In today's multipolar world, the Trump administration's foreign policy, particularly concerning China, has significant global implications. The first few months of Trump's second term have characterized intense economic, technological, and geopolitical competition. Despite attempts at dialogue, trade tensions and disputes over technology and national security persist, continuing to dominate the relationship between the two nations and the global economy. In the armed conflict between Russia and Ukraine, Trump opted to reduce US military involvement in support of Ukraine, urging Europe, especially Germany and France, to contribute more to the effort. His criticism of European allies strained NATO's relations. Trump engaged in direct talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin, focusing on regional stability rather than imposing further sanctions. He invited Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to the White House. Trump turned the expected constructive dialogue into a tense and controversial encounter, implying that Ukraine had not done enough to warrant US support, which led to perceptions of humiliation for Zelensky. Following the meeting, Trump conditioned military and financial assistance to Ukraine by granting access to its natural resources, particularly gas, minerals, and rare earth elements. Trump's approach to the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, particularly his support for Israel's plans to annex settlements in the West Bank, has sparked international controversy. His actions have increased tensions with the Palestinians and drawn widespread criticism. The recent visit of Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel, to the White House has further strengthened the strategic alliance between the two countries. The Trump administration's decision to cut financial aid to the Palestinians, including funds for the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine refugees, has been condemned for exacerbating the humanitarian crisis in Gaza and the West Bank. Trump has publicly suggested that Canada should become the 51st state, implying that the country's vast natural resources, including oil, gas, and minerals, would significantly enhance the economic potential of the United States. In response, the Canadian government has firmly rejected Trump's remarks, asserting that Canada is a sovereign nation and has no interest in being annexed. The Canadian Prime Minister characterized Trump's comments as disrespectful and unrealistic. Trump has reignited his interest in purchasing Greenland, an idea he explored during his first term in office. He believes Greenland, an autonomous territory of Denmark, could be strategically important for the U.S. due to its location and resources, especially in the context of competition with Russia and China in the Arctic. However, Denmark has firmly rejected these proposals, stating that Greenland is not for sale and that decisions about its future must include the Greenlanders. Trump has continued with the construction and expansion of the wall on the border between the United States and Mexico. Additionally, he has implemented advanced surveillance measures, including drones, high-tech cameras, and increased patrols to prevent illegal crossings. He has pushed for a merit-based immigration system that prioritizes immigrants with skills and education to benefit the U.S. economy. He has also reduced work visas, including H-1B and H-2A, arguing they displace U.S. workers. Additionally, his efforts to eliminate temporary protected status, TPS, leave thousands at risk of deportation. Trump has limited access to asylum by temporarily suspending the processing of applications and canceling appointments for migrants in the regularization process. As a result, this has left thousands in a state of legal limbo, uncertain about their immigration future. Trump has signed a new travel ban targeting 19 countries, restricting access to U.S. visas for millions. He claims this measure is essential for protecting the U.S. from security threats, citing inadequate background checks and insufficient information sharing with U.S. authorities. The list includes several Muslim-majority nations, such as Iran, Libya, Somalia, Syria, Yemen, and Sudan, along with Nigeria, Tanzania, and Venezuela. He has reinstated the zero-tolerance policy and intensified deportations of undocumented immigrants, prioritizing those with criminal records, but also expanding raids in migrant communities, even targeting resident citizens. These actions have led to a significant increase in the number of deportations during the first months of his term, creating widespread fear and disruption within migrant communities. He has expanded the powers of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, granting them greater authority to conduct raids and arrests in workplaces, homes, and communities with high migrant populations. Raids have intensified, with operations in cities and states with significant undocumented immigrant populations. These actions have generated fear and mistrust in the affected communities, leading to a breakdown of social cohesion and a reluctance to engage with law enforcement or other government agencies. Trump has reactivated the Alcatraz prison in California to house detained migrants, especially those deemed high risk. He has allied with El Salvador's president, Nayib Bukele, to send some detained migrants to prisons in that country. Additionally, he has expanded the use of the Guantanamo prison in Cuba to detain migrants classified as threats to national security. In a controversial and concerning move, Trump has deported some migrants to local jails in African countries such as Libya and Rwanda. As we conclude our video, it's important to note that Donald Trump's policies and his slogan, "Make America Great Again," have sparked debate about prioritizing U.S. interests in maintaining its status as the world's leading power. The trade war with China, a key component of Trump's economic policies, has had a significant impact on the global economy. It has escalated tensions between the two countries, disrupted supply chains, and attracted the attention of nations interested in China's growth potential and inclusive policies. Trump exploited Ukraine's vulnerable situation to pressure Zelensky and obtain economic benefits for the United States, which generated global criticism, with the prevailing opinion being that they were only trying to impose their policies, rules, and democracy on their terms. He has clashed with Elon Musk after Musk resigned from the Department of Government Efficiency, opposing the new tax bill and calling Congress's spending bill massive, scandalous, and a repugnant abomination. Trump's insinuations about annexing Canada and Greenland, which belong to Denmark, have sparked tensions with both countries' key U.S. allies. This has drawn criticism for expansionist intentions and a disregard for their sovereignty. Trump's support for Israel's attacks on Palestine has drawn criticism. He has also commented on Israel's bombings of Iran, aimed at slowing Iran's nuclear advancements, which is ironic given that both the U.S. and Israel possess nuclear weapons while Iran does not. Trump's immigration policies have triggered large protests in the U.S. and faced significant criticism for inhumanity and human rights violations. These actions have also strained relationships with migrants' home countries, particularly in Latin America, where leaders have condemned the treatment of their citizens. We encourage reflection and awareness. History presents the facts that traditional media can't change. Your opinion is important. What do you think of the policies of the Donald Trump administration? Do you think the United States is a country in decline? Is the United States the great savior of the world? We invite you to share your comments below and join the conversation. If you like this content, subscribe and activate the notification bell to receive more videos on history and international politics.